So I went back to Pennsylvania, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get back to Florida. And I did that. I just dropped out of college, and I just drove down here.
Wow.
My whole story is just about meeting people. It's like I met this person here by chance and this person here, and then it all leads into one.
A theme I'm seeing is tremendous hustle, though.
Yeah.
There was always a
Oh, for
willingness
sure.
to work and to work hard.
For sure. I'm worried about the money, and Emilio's like, it's just money. We'll make it back. It's about building the culture. It's about them wanting to come to work. Setting money aside for taxes is like my downfall.
It was like hard.
That was
hard
like
lesson.
the thing that I did wrong.
Yeah.
That majorly got me
Yeah.
in the end.
Guys, you're listening to Main Street Mowers podcast. We're here with Jordan Shockey, the owner of Lawn and Order, a lawn service in Central Florida that had over 400 accounts, and we're going to hear his entire story and just how he grew this beautiful business and then what he did after he grew it. Stay tuned.
Stick around and find out.
Yeah, stick around and find out.
So we kind of want to get your story from beginning
Yeah.
till now,
Yeah, for sure.
and then we'll ask questions to dig you a little bit deeper.
For sure.
So I know that you're from Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Pittsburgh?
from outside of Pittsburgh. Like an hour southeast of Pittsburgh, so just above Maryland.
And you moved here when you were pretty young.
So I moved here at 20,
How old are you now?
34.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 35, and we've known each other 10 plus years
yeah,
at least, right?
Right.
And what moved you here? Do you have family here?
So I have a relative. I always called him my uncle, but he's not really my uncle. He's like a second cousin or something.
Right.
Uh-huh.
But he gave me the opportunity to come down here and intern at the YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for what was supposed to be 3 months during the summer because I was still in college.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came, so that was in 2007. So I came down here and I did that, and I was at the Roper YMCA.
I swear I remember you from
Yeah?
then. Yeah.
Yeah. And then whenever the time was up and it was time for me to go back to Pennsylvania, I had just fallen in love with this area,
Mm-hmm.
which is nothing. The area in 2007 was nothing compared to what it is today. It was a totally different place.
Yeah.
So I went back to Pennsylvania and I was in school and I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get back to Florida. I did that. I dropped out of college and I packed up what I owned into my car and I just drove down here.
Wow.
Just by yourself.
There was kind of a female involved.
Yeah.
Right. It never hurts. The motivation.
But anyway, so her and I were together for a while and that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time.
Right.
But anyway, so then I came back down here and we were together. I was dating this person, and I got my first job at Bonefish Grill.
Mm-hmm.
That was how I first started making money
Yeah.
from somebody that I had met whenever I was at the Y. My whole story is just about meeting people.
Okay.
That's how it's like I met this person here by chance and this person here, and then it all leads into one. It just, the whole story comes from meeting people.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then I worked at Bonefish for a while, and then I got back into the Y as a wellness director. And then whenever I was there, my boss asked me one day if I could mow her grass.
Like with her mower?
Just figure it out.
All right.
Just get her grass mowed. So I was like, yeah, I'll figure something out. Because whenever I was in high school, whenever I graduated high school, I had 20 properties that I was managing, as a senior in high school. So whenever I came to Florida and went to college, I kind of lost all that.
Yeah.
So whenever she asked me to cut her grass, I was like, yeah, definitely. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So my job at the Y really mainly was to talk to people. So I was just talking to the members and telling people that I was trying to figure this situation out. And the one member was like, you can borrow my push mower.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, great. So I went over and it was under a tarp and covered in leaves, not used, just sitting there.
We've
and I
seen
had
a
this
lot like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I had just leased this brand new Camry. I leased it 2 months before. And I put this push mower into the trunk of the car, and I go and I mow her grass, and it takes me an hour. And all I do is push mow because I didn't have anything else. I didn't have an edger or weed eater blower. And then she paid me whatever. I don't even remember what she paid me. I didn't even care. I was just happy to be mowing grass.
3 meatballs.
Right.
Got your hand there, Shani.
Exactly. So then she asked me again to do it another time. and I did it. And then I kind of started talking to the other members about how I was mowing grass. And they said, well, if you start a company, you can mow my grass too. Like 2 people said that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that's it, let's do it. So the first thing I did was I went to turn in this Camry that I had just leased 2 months, at least 2 months earlier.
It's like getting out of a cell phone commitment or
Yeah, I had
dish
like
TV.
I think I took like I don't even know. I think I took like $8,000 in negative equity.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I got hit hard with this debt, like right off the bat. So whatever, I had to do what I had to do. So I bought this Toyota Tacoma, which I should have just kept for the whole life of the business. But anyways, so I got this Toyota Tacoma, and then I came to see you guys, and Emilio was like the first guy to talk to me.
I remember the Tacoma,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was going through everything with Emilio, like putting together the pricing, and I was like, man, that's a lot of money, you know. Like I was just I don't know what it came to. It was like $6,000 or something like that for that initial setup that I was gonna do, or maybe it was $7,000. Anyways, and I was like, I'm worried about the money, and Emilio's like, it's just money. We'll make it back. So I was like, all right, you know what? I appreciate that. Let's do it.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
That's a good
really,
one.
I'm going to give him a high five. I'm glad he convinced you. Not that that's ever our goal. We're always trying to give people good advice, honestly.
Yeah.
That's our whole business policy. Like, I want you to be as
for sure.
successful as possible so that it will end up will be successful, right?
Right.
If you crash and burn, then you're out of our life.
Yeah, that was something that's more a little bit further down the story, but like, you know, my relationship with you guys has been awesome too. You know, like, because you have grown, as you know, I've grown, and it's just been fun to do that with, you know, not really together, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know it does feel like that.
Together,
Like when we see you in the showroom, I'm like, Jordan's my guy. Yeah, he's been here a long time. It's awesome.
So then I just did it. I just started talking to other members, and I got like another account here and another account there. And then I think that whenever I got up to, but all from the get-go, like I was mowing the grass like after work. Like I was working from like 8. I had 1 day a week to do it. Whenever I would go in at 5 a.m. and then I would be off by 3, and then I would mow from 3 until dark. And from the beginning, I always had somebody else with me, even whenever we were doing like 3 hours a week.
Yeah.
Like I always had somebody with me. So anyway, so I built it up until I got to like, I don't know, I was probably like 50 properties or so.
While you're still at the YMCA.
Yeah.
You're probably making pretty good money burning the candle that hard.
Yeah. Yep.
Working full time
Yep.
and then
Yeah, it was
going
good.
till dark.
Yeah, it was good. And you know, at that point,
And you're 20 at this point, 21
Right.
maybe.
Yep. So anyway, so then I did that for until I was big enough to leave the Y, and then like that was a little bit scary.
Yeah.
You know, to leave a job with insurance and you know all that stuff.
Yeah.
How long did it take between starting till you left the Y?
I think it was like 2 years.
Okay.
Or no, it wasn't that long. It was probably like a year and a half. I don't really know the exact time frame, but it all happened quick.
Yeah.
Because then after I left the Y, I then got another job at Bonefish and Winter Garden, and I was there for like another year while I was growing Law and Order until it got to the point of where I was paying people more to pick up my shifts than what I was making working there.
Yeah.
Because I had to like be off to get these yards done because like it rained or whatever, you know. Or
Yeah.
Back then it was just myself and one other guy.
And Bonefish worked as a good job because you could do that at night
Right.
and you could
Right.
mow while the sun was up.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I used to do is I used to mow until like 1:30, and then I was an opener at Bonefish. So I would be there at 3, so then I would be the first out. So then I would get out, and then...
A theme I'm seeing is tremendous hustle, though.
Yeah.
There was always
Oh,
a
for
willingness
sure.
to work and to work hard.
For sure. Yeah, that there's no doubt about that. I think that it's I don't know if it's in my blood or what it is, but just working hard is just something that if I don't do it, I feel like, you know, it just makes me go nuts sitting around not doing it.
You always know you could do more. It's like,
Yeah.
dang, what if I did
Right.
more? I could
Right.
do more. I know that feeling.
So anyways, and then we grew, and I added guys on. You know, we went from 2 guys to 3 guys to 4 guys, and then we had a 5-man crew, and then there was kind of like the first fallout on the crew to where like they weren't getting along with one another. And then we had enough properties at that point, and then there was like another truck available that we were able to split into 2 crews.
Right.
And then we made that leap. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
the day that, or the.
How many yards do you think you were at when you split 2 yards?
Whenever we split, we were somewhere in the low 300s. Or,
what?
Yeah.
You were running one crew at 300 yards.
So we were doing like 50 a day. No, so that would have been, so it would have been the high 200s. Yeah. We were doing
50 a day.
50 to 55. That's on a 5-man crew. And it's a densely packed route.
Tons of landscapers who do
Right.
30 yards,
Right.
period. That's their whole week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, damn, I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now we have about 400, and we have it divided between 2 crews, a 4-man crew and a 3-man crew.
And for anybody listening who doesn't know, Jordan has excellent physique. He's been
Did pre-COVID.
lifting weights since you were young, probably.
14, yeah.
Yeah. And you have great energy. And I see you on the job like edging with one hand, running, hustling.
You've never seen a guy
Doing
driving
push-ups in between
Yeah.
each property.
You
pretty
kind of
much, right?
revolutionized how I pictured the grandstand, because Jordan rides all grandstands, and his crew uses them like you've never seen, like segways. Like, it's kind of insane. It is
Yeah,
like
I've seen you do some stunt riding.
acrobatics
You showed me
almost.
a video. Jordan showed me a video one day, him on a 40 grandstand, like climbing around to the front of it, riding in reverse, reaching out, opening a PVC fence, driving it through the fence, closing the fence, jumping back into the holster.
So that takes some level of skill to do that, but it's the grandstand mower that makes that possible.
right.
Yeah.
The Toro mowers are just phenomenal.
But you've logged a ton of time, and you have become very natural
Mhm.
at driving one.
Yeah, I think I've had I bought some 17 of them here in the past 10 years.
Pretty good amount.
Like just
For 2 trucks, that's a decent amount of mowers.
yeah, I kind of had this addiction to driving the new mowers. Like, it's so much fun.
When they're
like,
brand new, yeah.
like every chance I got to buy a new one and trade one in,
Yeah.
you know, it might not have been the best financial decision, but
Well, the other thing is most customers put like 500 hours on a grandstand a year. And I remember one year seeing a 1-year-old machine with 1,600 hours on one of yours.
Yeah,
One of
we-
your 52s.
yeah, we put a lot of hours.
That's a lot of hours.
Yeah, well, you're doing 50 yards a day.
Yeah.
You're going to have to.
Yeah. And a lot of that, too, is teamwork.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that I think makes us different than a lot of other landscaping companies, is that we put a lot of effort into the culture and, you know, building camaraderie, being able to work as a team.
Yeah.
You know, everybody still kind of gives each other a hard time here and there, whatever, but at the end of the day, we all work very well as a team, and that's something that is extremely important, I think, to have a highly, productive crew.
Right. So,
We agree. We always say like we're with our coworkers more than we are with our family. So it's your work family, you know.
Right.
right.
You better like them, or it's not going to be fun.
Right.
Okay, so 400 yards. What does a yard look like? Like, how does your crew approach a yard different than anyone else? Or does it look any different?
So a lot of what we have is side-by-side properties, like where we go into a community and we do 5 to 30 yards in a community.
Right.
And that's also very important to the structure of the business, because
Yeah.
if you're getting in the truck and driving in between properties, that totally kills your time, especially if you have 5 guys.
You're not getting paid while you're driving.
Right.
Yeah.
Our typical properties around here are not very big.
Yeah.
I mean, they take between 8 to 12 minutes,
Mhm.
to do. Has a little bit of grass on each side. It has a small enough yard in the back, whatever they are, 70 by 20 or 30 feet, not very big. And then some bushes in the front. So, that's the typical property that we're doing. We are not doing Hallworth mansions. We are not doing big properties like that, because that's just not where we've found success.
Right. So what, for like one of these small continuous type houses that's like next to another house, what do you charge per cut on like a house like that?
So, if we're doing a lot in the community,
Uh-huh.
it's usually under 100. So
A month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of how you would attract a lot in a tight area.
So if you come in with a low price, you're going to get a good saturation of that neighborhood, percent of that neighborhood, and then it's real efficient to go there and do them all.
Yeah. So sometimes whenever I quote, you might try and quote just a little bit higher, but if you don't get that person, the value of getting that person as a neighbor to another property is like the like the profit add-on from not loading up and not moving and doing another property is so great that it's not worth the risk to try and charge a little more. To me, that's how I approached it.
That makes total sense. It's just like, it's low-hanging fruit. I'm already here.
Yeah.
Just another extra $25.
Right.
Why not? Might as well just bust it out.
Right. Yeah, because literally with like 5 more minutes of effort, you can get another $25 earned, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Can I refill?
Yeah.
You want to drink that a little bit?
Yes. But the key to doing lawns fast like that, to have good guys that do a good job and that aren't breaking things or aren't making mistakes or missing things or...
You've had very low turnover, I would say. I know you've gone through some people, but compared to others that I've seen,
I've seen
you guys go out and have fun, clearly.
Right. It's about building the culture. You know,
Yeah.
it's about them wanting to come to work.
And you are this personality of like the leader that's like, hey guys, we're gonna go out there and smile while we do it, you know, and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
You do a good job of that.
Yep, but as good as I am at encouraging that, I mean, the guys on the crew are generally, I mean, they're all just...
They all add to the energy.
Yeah, they're all very good guys.
Yeah.
They took a while to find, but which usually it was by like referral. Like one guy found the other guy.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like friends, I guess, if you will.
I think that's the best way to build a culture is your people know what it takes to do the job, and so they're good at recommending a person for the job, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll ask my techs, like, who do you recommend? He's like, oh, that guy sucks. Do you have any friends that could hang here? And they're like, it's either yes or no, and they'll know, like, nah, he's a good mechanic, but he couldn't hang here, or he's not friendly enough, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
Is that similar?
Yep.
Yeah, exact same thing.
And you've had some guys who have grown to where they want to do it on their own too, right?
I've never had anybody leave to do it on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But you've had guys that I feel like you've almost treated like partners a bit.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Who was that, like 2 years ago? Well, we don't have to mention names.
Well,
did it end well or not?
I mean, I don't think that I've had any relationship with my guys that hasn't ended well.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
That's good.
I'm trying to think back over it, but...
So you could probably do anything with that personality mentality.
Right.
You know, have you ever thought about doing anything else?
Yeah, well, actually, so I probably about like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I just kind of noticed that I didn't want to do lawn care forever.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great time. I've been doing it for 12 years now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a great time doing it, but I just didn't want to do it forever. So I started kind of getting my ducks in a row 2 or 3 years ago to be able to sell the business.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It was actually like a combination of things, like one of which, like you came to me with somebody that was selling a business,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, wow, I kind of like planted the seed that like that's a possibility.
You
Yeah.
did this, Stu?
But then also like since like my second year in business, this broker has been reaching out to me. This broker's office has been reaching out to me to sell, and I'm like, well, you know, I'm making $2,000 a month. I don't think you want to buy the business, but in the future.
Yeah.
So then he kind of like hit me up throughout the past 12 years here and there. And then like last summer, I just kind of really felt that I was nearing the end of my career doing this. Like it was just time to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I really started to get things organized. And then I had a friend that had recently sold his company, and I reached out to him. Well, anyways, I had a friend named Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Sean that
We know Sean.
yeah.
Sean's done it a couple times.
He has. He's like
He's a wizard at
He's
it.
like the guy in this area.
We're
for
going to
doing
interview
that.
him soon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. How to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I reached out to him and I was like, you know, who'd you use? And he was like, you know, this broker. And I was like, oh, well, that guy's been hitting me up since my second year in business.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
This broker's doing the deal.
Right? So
Whoa.
so I reached out to the broker and I was like, I think I want to do this. Like, let's look into it. So he's like, all right. So we spent like 2 hours on the phone, and I sent him like over all my financials for the past, I think it was 3 years worth of financials that had to be sent over. Now, the important part about what I just said there was the financials. I had an accountant. Like whenever I told you that years ago I started getting my ducks in a row, having an accountant was like key to this whole thing.
Big change, pre-accountant to post-accountant in your business operation?
It was see,
Or is there a certain point you would recommend somebody?
I would say that whenever you're making
Consult.
more than $100,000 a year, or around there,
Yeah.
it might be a good idea if some, lawn guys are, we're not the smartest of the bunch, so maybe somebody else is better off being in charge of your money.
Just keep you out of trouble, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just make sure you're not
Yeah.
doing
I
the
don't know,
wrong
maybe
thing.
edit that part out.
No, it's good. No, it's,
But yeah, so getting an accountant was huge because then I had the books in place, and whenever they wanted my 2018, 19, 20, profit and loss statements,
yeah.
I had them ready to go. Yeah.
Dropped it on them.
That's nice.
Because to put that together, if you don't have the book set up, properly, it would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Right. So anyway, so he came back to me and he said, this is my evaluation of what I think it's worth, and I felt like it was good, and I said, okay, let's move forward with it. And then he listed the business for sale in October.
It's past October,
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks later, these two buyers, I did a phone call with them.
Yeah.
Called a buyer's call, and we spent an hour on the phone. And then the next week we met and we spent a couple hours together, and then they made an offer
Yeah.
on it, and then there was 4 months of bank paperwork involved. There was just tons of work.
All right.
And then last Friday it closed.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome, Jordan. Congratulations.
Yeah, man,
seriously.
congrats.
Dude,
Cheers
that's got to
to-
feel good.
Yeah.
That's what it was supposed to close back in December. That's why whenever you asked me, I was like, let's do it after this date.
Oh, cool.
But then it kept getting pushed because of this and that and whatever. So it ended up being
Man, nice save the surprise.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Dang. And it's not that we're celebrating that you're getting out of the lawn business, because that, kind of sad, honestly, for us. But
Right.
at the same time, it's the celebration of your hard work, right? This is a payoff for you.
yes.
Yeah. So what now?
Well, while I was mowing grass, I just happened to be standing on the right corner at the right time when the right car was driving by, and I met this guy 8 years ago, and I could just tell whenever I met him that he was going to be an important part of my life in the future.
Uh-huh.
So I worked for him, did properties for him for the past 8 years, and have fostered my relationship with him. And basically, he is in real estate, and so I'm going to be working with him doing real estate activities.
You were looking into that
Yeah.
years ago. I remember you.
Well, 7 years ago, when my daughter was born, I got my license, and I
Yeah.
tried to go one route with real estate and got absolutely nowhere. Becoming a realtor, a realtor is a trademarked term for somebody that belongs to the association. But anyways, to sell real estate, it's difficult. It's difficult to get into that market.
Yeah. Some people make it look easy, but it's not easy.
Right, and a lot of
Tons
people,
of people fail.
Yeah, a lot of people sell 3 proproperties in their first year or whatever.
Right.
If that's or 2 properties even.
Yeah.
So whenever I first went into it 7 years ago, I held an open house that cost me $1,200 because I went way overboard on it. I had a Santa rented for pictures, and I went nuts on it. But anyways, had gift bags for everybody.
Those failures of our past, though, totally make us.
Right? Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a good learning lesson.
Yeah.
Totally. It was worth more than $1,200 in
Right.
life experience and education.
And then while I was also during that time I was with Keller Williams for a little bit, and I met somebody else that he had just sold his lawn business and was coming in to do real estate, and so we've kept in touch, and I talked to him a month ago, and he said, you know what, Jordan, he said, I was so much happier whenever I was in landscaping. I'm thinking about coming back to it.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh man, you're killing me.
Well,
You always can, though. That's the thing, right?
yeah,
you
yeah.
can cash out here
yeah. You
and then
could
come
buy-
back. It's
you
not
could
a
buy-
hard option. With your kind of gusto and just try,
Exactly.
abilities, you could have
Yeah.
lawn and order bitches as your new. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But you could have a whole nother name and just redo it all, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
It's
yeah.
not a big deal for you.
Well, these guys that bought it, though, they're 2 really good guys. That was
Yeah.
the other thing, is that meeting with them and talking to them. They're just really good guys, and I think that everything is going to be better for everybody
Cool.
with these new guys.
Where are they from?
Kissimmee, I think.
Oh, they're local.
Yeah. They're local. Yeah, they have a small company. Again, I think it's out of Kissimmee.
Yeah.
Might be Claremont. But they were kind of, they were in different industries, and COVID,
Yeah.
like it did. So many people beat them up. So they were like, let's get into lawn care.
Wow. Man, that is cool. And not that
Yeah.
you'd get back in it to compete with these guys or anything.
No, yeah,
right?
there's
Of course,
a
right.
there's
It's
a
that thing.
sign.
Yeah, I'm sure
Compete,
there is.
or whatever it's called.
So, I mean, not that we need to talk numbers. I don't want to know the actual figures.
Sure.
But how do you evaluate a business like that? I mean, what goes into it? If you can give me like a nutshell. Because I feel like 400 accounts would be a pretty great business to sell. I mean, like on paper, I'm thinking that is a killer business to sell.
Yeah, I don't really know what all metrics he put into it. I just know that I had a number in my mind, and then whenever he came back with his number, it was close enough that I felt that it was right. But it goes off of the net income.
Yeah.
The numbers that are on that were on the tax return. That was another painful thing too, is that I didn't hide money, which is so tempting to do in this business.
Mm-hmm.
Like pay me in cash and I'll give you a 5% discount or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that at all.
Yeah.
So like all of our revenue got reported, which was great for the sale of business. It was not great for taxes.
Yeah.
All right.
But so I'm not sure like which multiplier he used or how he came up with it, but it was good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk more about the tax
Sure.
thing? That seems interesting, the tax thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is always something that I'm just like infinitely curious about.
Oh man.
Tell me more.
I tell you what, I don't understand taxes, right? I mean, who
right.
does besides the people that are paid to do it? I
They're
mean,
just like,
who just understands taxes? You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I know what I want to say. Like, say when you were starting to build the business, you had a steady job, you had benefits and things, and then all of a sudden you just cast your boat out into the ocean. That is a scary moment for a lot of people, from going like private sector or like public sector to the private, like you own your own business.
it's all on you. Yeah, for sure. That was
That's
a big
crazy.
moment.
There's no safety net. There's nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
I remember the night that I quit Bonefish officially, and like I was just on my own, and it was a little bit emotional.
And so then you're just kind of broke, like you're not on anyone's clock. You
Right.
wake up whenever you want. You got to be self-motivated.
Which is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. And money starts rolling in,
Right.
and a portion of that money has to be put aside to pay Uncle Sam at some
Right.
point.
Right.
And that is a hard piece of discipline.
Very hard. And I tell you that was
and you're a young kid at the
Yeah.
time.
right.
Like,
I'll tell you that setting money aside for taxes is like my downfall. Like
was like hard.
that was
hard
like
lesson.
the thing that I did wrong
Yeah.
that majorly got me
Yeah.
in the end.
Give
I'm
it-
all good now. Everything's all good.
Yeah,
Everything's all
yeah.
clear now. But
How did it get you?
I paid it off at the end of the sale of the business.
Oh.
In your like roller coaster of highs and lows, the lows were often tax related.
Yeah, I mean taxes were like my number one problem.
Yeah. Like that was the stress in your life, was just
For sure.
this thing.
Yeah. And like every February, whenever I had to prepare my tax planner for my account before she took over,
Yeah.
it was like the bane of my existence for like February to April, whatever, until I finally got it to her last minute. Because I would like go back to the year before and go through all of my bank statements and like figure out where I spent money. Like I didn't have accounting software in place.
Right.
Like everything is so much easier now. I mean, you can do the things that kept me awake for 2 months of the year, you can have done automatically on an app now,
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the problem is that, like, for me, right, so I didn't really have a great education about money, as the gurus are all preaching, right? We don't learn anything about money. So then whenever I started making a little bit of money, like whenever I started making $10,000 a month, whatever, I was like, holy crap, I'm making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it just
Well, your lifestyle creeps, right?
too fast.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared for it that
Faster
way.
than you make the money, actually, you think.
Right. Like
It's already
now,
spent.
if I could have the knowledge and the spending habits that I do now, if I could have had those whenever I was, making money whenever I was 23, 24, it would have been.
Well, that's a good nugget for all the 23-year-olds out there listening.
Yeah.
That it's
What would you say you have to put away to save for taxes? I mean, like, is there a percentage? What's the metric? Obviously, there's a percentage of taxes being taken out. I mean, that's probably Googleable, right?
Yeah.
I think that if you, I guess it'd be different for everybody. I mean, mine kind of broke down just doing simple math quick math in my head. Mine broke down to like 15% of my gross, but I don't don't really know what it would have been about 20% of that math is wrong.
So if you make 10,000, put away 2,000, don't touch it for taxes.
The math is too much for right now.
Anyway.
Too much tequila for this moment.
So now that you've sold the business, is there going to be some transition period where you help them?
Yeah, so
learn the
I'm
business?
under agreement to help them for 30 days, but I mean I'll help them for as
Okay.
long as, you know, like I'm not really for right now, like most of what, because I had a office secretary, if you will, and because I put so much on the guys, like I took myself out of the truck years ago because I needed my absence to not be noticeable or impact, you know, the crew. So I mean basically everybody knows how to do everything without me, and that was a very important step that you had to put in place years ago. And getting the office, you know, getting the secretary, whatever we want to call her, in line was definitely very important.
Right.
Because otherwise there would be so much information to transfer right now. She's staying with the business.
Yeah.
And so are all the
growing
guys.
pains and expenses that you went through to get the company sellable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it's also empowering to them, right? Like I feel like when you give somebody responsibility, either they crack and you realize they're not the right guy, or they harden and they are the right guy, right? In some ways.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm working with them for the next 4 weeks, just kind of like I gave them my phone. Like I just felt like that was like almost every conversation I've ever had with every client has always been via text. Quotes, everything is done via text.
Yeah.
So I handed them my phone, and they literally had my conversation with every client.
Wow. That's a pretty
So-
valuable.
Yeah, for sure.
So they have that. They bought
I
that.
gave that to them, yeah.
Right.
Why they bought it, yeah. I fought it. I didn't want to give up my phone because I've had that phone since I was like 13.
Right. Yeah. It's more than just that.
Really,
Yeah.
it was, but whatever. It's all
Yeah. At the same
That
time.
girl from middle school might be holding that number to call you up.
Get some new guys. I sent this message out to everyone in my phone book saying, hey, this is my new number. And I put this little plug in there about how I was going to go into, I want to do house flipping. Like, that's what I want to get into.
I think you'd be great at that.
Yeah. You just can't find a property right now. I mean,
I've run a few of my own little businesses, and the phone calls are what drove me crazy.
right.
I can't imagine actually. I can't even extrapolate my like 10 customers to 400 customers.
Right.
What are the phone calls like?
Oh, man, I tell you, one of the biggest problems are broken sprinklers.
Yeah.
You know,
Everyone's got to call you on that.
and you know what I'm thinking about? Like, I was talking to somebody about this week, okay? So whenever a sprinkler is working properly, the tube is in the ground safe from us, so it can't be harmed,
Yeah.
okay? So whenever the sprinkler is in its state that it's supposed to be in, the tube is down. So why is that tube not neon green? Like, wwhy is it black?
Yeah.
Right. Or not neon green.
Well, yeah, that'd be a horrible
How about
color.
red?
Yeah.
Why is it not grass colored? It needs to blend in perfectly, so we smash it.
It was a horrible color. Fluorescent orange.
Yeah.
Purple or something. Yeah.
But right? Doesn't that make sense?
It's genius. Holy crap. Delete this. We're patenting this crap right now.
That and the other thing that I came up with today,
Man,
if you're watching TV, you hear him like take a breath, like in between sentences. Somebody needs to make the software that eliminates that sound of that breath.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that might exist. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody needs to make it. Like,
Yeah, right.
Whatever. It's a.
No, that's interesting.
It's a.
I wonder
it's
if you could do a
Instagram.
service where you replace sprinkler heads for a bunch of landscapers. $25. That's all you do.
Well, what-
You
I
just
mean-
cruise around and
Oh
you're
yeah.
just popping heads.
Oh, I
up.
see what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know.
And so, Jordan, you get like 3 calls tonight because 3 heads got broken. You just broker them off to your head pot replacer. It costs you $75, but
Well, I mean,
you could stay at dinner.
yeah, right.
You know, you don't
Well,
even have to think about
In
it.
an ideal situation, I think the way that it would work is so certain irrigation boxes will control or can tell you if you have a broken sprinkler by the flow that's going through it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's great. So you know that you have a broken sprinkler in zone 5. That's better than nothing. If you could pinpoint it even further, I don't know how you would do that. You would have to have sensors on them, and sensors, of course, fail, so that wouldn't really work. But anyways, even to know that you have a broken head and get like an alert, on an app, I mean,
Yeah.
they got got boxes to do this. I don't know who makes it. I think Rainbird does.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, if the and then you could have people on a program, if Heron sells programs, different companies sell irrigation maintenance programs, but if the app would tell somebody watching that program, and then then they could fix it, because the program's like whatever, it's $50 a month or whatever. I don't know, it's a little expensive, maybe $20 a month, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There just needs to be a better system in place, is what I'm trying to say, with the color of the tube and the irrigation boxes and the technology.
I think the color of the tube is genius.
So for sure.
Why don't they do that?
Because
when they're popped up, who cares what color they are?
Exactly.
And when they're down, they're gone.
Yeah, it's like nighttime anyway.
So you're saying the only reason sprinkler heads are getting hit is because they're stuck up?
We can't see, right?
They're broken anyway. The customer's probably hitting you to like, hey, you owe me from a broken sprinkler head.
Well, the thing is that you
had a broken sprinkler head,
and I chopped it off.
I found it for you. Would you like me to charge you to fix it?
That is a great.
That'd be a good line for them. A little diagram. Actually, the reason we chopped its head off was because it was already broken. You're welcome.
Love that approach. Oh man, I'm totally gonna tell.
Finder's fee is $25. Replacement fee is $50. $75. I'll send it to your bill. But is that true? I don't understand why they get chopped.
I know a question I had. So
oh no, but because dirt, somehow things get into that head, whether it's dirt or whether it's whatever. However, somehow something gets into that tube that whenever it pops up, like the tiniest thing can get wedged in there.
Yeah.
Like a tiniest rock, not even rock,
Yeah.
and keep it up. And then whenever it's stuck up in the air, if you have grass that's 6 inches high, and we're cutting it at 4 inches high, and the tube is sticking up out of the grass 1 inch higher than the grass, what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't see it.
I mean, the whole point, the sprinkler, if it's mounted properly, should be basically ground level.
Right.
There's no way it should get mowed over.
Right.
But it's if they get stuck up and they don't come back down.
So then,
Poor landscapers.
So
they're screwed.
So there's that problem that exists in irrigation, but then there's also these drip lines, these brown tubes that go through bushes.
Weed whackers, right?
Okay.
String trimmers.
So those are great the day that they go in. They do this great little drip. You can see it doing its job. Fantastic. But the problem is that those get clogged. Those holes get clogged. Those lines get clogged. So unless if you're doing maintenance to where you're taking one end of it off once a month or whatever, that's way too much. So let's say every 6 months would be even great.
Yeah.
And making sure that A, the line is cleared, and B, it's not cut by the hedge trimmer, the whatever, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So because that's not done, those lines don't work effectively. So that's why you see bushes die. See, that's always kind of something that I've been interested in, is why is this neighborhood why does that house's bushes look so bad?
Yeah.
What is it what's going wrong? And then usually it's a lot of times it's a fertilization issue, because we're planting in sand here, so there's nothing for it to work with in the ground. So if you don't have a fertilization company, I mean, your landscaping just has nothing to work with.
It's gonna die.
It just can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll hang on for a while, but it'll.
Whatever's in the pot.
I pay
right?
attention to the same thing, and when I'm in Winter Park, I'm like, dude, these people have their hedge game on point, And you go to another neighborhood, and every house just has these.
Well, there's these deep established oak canopied neighborhoods that have tons of years of nutrients and leaves that have all just been worked into the ground. I mean, it's old soil, right? It's not like these new neighborhoods, they just burn the whole orange grove down. It was sand to begin with.
Yeah.
And they build it, and they just drop sod right on sand. They're like, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Here's your irrigation.
True, that's a piece of it. I mean, whenever you see a public shopping center that has really good landscaping, and then you'll see another one that's got just horrible.
Yeah.
Who's failing there?
Well,
and obviously, if you go to that Publix at 10 o'clock when they're closing, the sprinklers are on, they're all just pouring water into the street.
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a huge problem.
I always want to tell the manager of the Publix, I'm like, all of your expensive landscape is going to die.
Right.
What's the matter with you?
It's like the one in McGuire over there. They had a broken sprinkler head for over a year.
Yeah.
Every time I walk by, I'd be like, oh, it's still broken. I contemplated fixing it numerous times, but I never had the part on me. I didn't want to go back and get it. But
Exactly.
What a good Samaritan effort that would have been. Humanitarian effort.
but that's so much of the problem of landscaping is that it doesn't get proper water because it's not inspected. So most people, almost everybody, passes on irrigation inspections whenever, I mean, I guess if you don't have a whole lot of landscaping, it's not really a whole lot to worry about. But, if you have a commercial property with bushes the whole way around it and landscaping in the front, you want to get that inspected to know that it's being watered correctly.
Exactly. I like to read, but anytime I start reading a book, I have narcolepsy. Like sometimes I'll just fall asleep. Nothing can keep me from falling asleep. I'll fall asleep right here. It's actually like one of my skills is I could put a pillow right there, 5 minutes.
Oh, so like intentional.
Sleep. I can do it intentional, but sometimes it'll just hit me because I'm just bored as can be.
Wow.
So if I start reading a book and I'm into it, I'll stay up all night. I can't even go to bed. I'll just go to 2. But if every time I open it up, I start falling asleep, I'll just close the book and I'll put it in my bookshelf and put it away. And I'll just know that book's not for me. I got to find one that keeps my interest because I'll never read this book. I'll fall asleep every page.
Right.
Well, likewise, imagine when you were going to school. Imagine how much you dreaded Sunday night when you're in grade school. We used to have the best weekends ever. And on Sunday night, and you had to start getting ready to go to bed early and do your homework, and you knew the next morning you're going to be woken up out of a coma, and you dreaded it. I almost hated Sunday, even though it was a day off.
Right.
It ruins the whole Sunday.
Yeah. It was just pre-Monday, and Monday was so bad that Sunday was bad too. Well, anytime I've had a job that I really don't like, I just dread it to death on Monday. And one thing that any job I've ever had that I dreaded on Sunday, I realized I got to move on. This isn't going to work.
Right.
Did you ever have that dreading Monday on Sunday?
For work?
Yeah.
For mowing?
Yeah.
Never.
Never?
Oh, man, I love mowing.
Yeah.
I love the smell of grass. For real. When I'm not mowing and I drive by guys that are mowing on Saturday, I'm like,
oh, look at that.
I'm glad I'm not working, but I kind of want to go out there and do
Pull
that.
over. Let me show you how to work that grandstand, you stupid dummy.
But I've even said that.
Oh, that's great.
I've even said that I'm probably gonna link up with these guys. Just, hey, where you guys at? And I'm gonna come mow with you for a little bit.
Get my fix.
Just come here for an hour.
Dude, that is awesome.
No, yeah, I've always loved mowing grass. I started mowing grass whenever I was probably at 11, and at first, day one, cut one. The reason why I did it was because my brother mowed the grass and he wasn't home, and the grass needed mowed. So I kind of mowed it to take his job.
Yeah.
To make him mad, right? Because my brother and I were rivals.
Yeah.
Until I was in my early 20s. But
so this is kind of out of order.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
What was your family like growing up?
So I grew up on a farm in the country.
You did?
It wasn't like isolated country, but yeah, I mean it was on I played in the woods, and there was a pond on our property, and I had
Did you have a BB gun?
I had a BB gun, motorcycle, paintball gun, slingshot.
Yeah.
I did all that fun stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, good.
Us too.
And that's that's a lot of who I am was growing up like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, it's not like I had parents that didn't watch me, but I had a lot of free time, or a lot of independence. I mean,
Us
independence.
too,
Crazy
yeah.
mount.
Yeah.
Me and Chip had a ammunitions chest full of illegal fireworks that we bought on vacation. Every vacation, we would refill our war chest, and we would stage all-out firework battles in the backyard with friends while our parents were running the mower shop. And we were elementary school age.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Grew up on a golf course where we just terrorize golfers, really, very much.
Yeah.
We don't do that now, and we respect golfers and the turf industry in its entirety. But every guy's got to be a kid at some point.
So how many siblings did you have?
So I just have one older brother. He's a general contractor, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Do you ever go back to Pennsylvania?
Yeah. So I went for a while there where I was just doing funerals and weddings.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But I've been back more recently. We went out this winter and did some skiing. It was awesome.
Oh, good.
Snowboarding.
Awesome.
Good.
You guys bored?
We've been snowboarding. I wouldn't say we board, but we love board sports. It's just snow is not on my regular docket.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I ever were to experience snow or go to snow, I would probably board.
Actually, the time that we went from like morning. We only went one day, and we went right.
We went hard. Yeah.
Have you been more than that one time?
Yeah. No, we went that day, and at the end of the day, we were going to the
moment they
diamond.
opened till the moment they closed. I don't even think we ate a single meal.
And then you couldn't move the next day, right?
And we got it instantly. You know, a lot of people like talk about like how like on day 4 you kind of get it.
It took me like 4 months.
I mean, we just
Yeah.
we got on the chairlift and we just rode to the top of a blue and we just rode right down it.
We were on
Really?
blacks
We
like
just-
for the rest of the day. Like we
just
had to
got
do
it the moment we did it.
What's
Snowboarding.
Snowboarding? Yeah.
No. We were talking about country boards.
Well, skiing, I could understand much more if you were like, we did that on skis, but snowboarding,
Yes.
I mean,
It was like, man, we could be Shaun White if we lived in snowboard country. It's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
I dream about snowboarding sometimes.
Yeah, I do too.
Snowboarding,
I still remember it.
Unfortunately for me, snowboarding was very painful to learn. I slammed my head a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I loved everything you had to say. Your story is amazing.
Yeah.
If you had to give me like a couple nuggets of just like, if you want to be a successful landscaper, try these few things. These are important like rules of landscaping. What would they be?
Get the right setup from the beginning, which you guys do a great job encouraging.
Yeah.
Get the right size mower right off the bat. My first mower was a 34-inch. That was the most that I could afford, so that was really all I could do. But it cost me so much more in the long run until I finally got to the right setup.
Mm-hmm.
So get the right equipment from the beginning. Save for taxes and set the money aside for taxes. I mean, that was like the biggest mistake that I made, was not setting enough money aside for taxes.
Yeah.
And then also don't get into too much debt or debt at all if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so tempting whenever we come in here and we're like, oh, you can get this brand new mower, sign here.
Yeah.
So watching out for that for sure. But the rest of it, other than those 3 solid financial decisions, the rest is really up to just you and just hard work. I don't know about the rest of the country, but here in Central Florida, if you just do a good job, you can literally have a business doing anything.
Yeah.
If
Absolutely.
you just do a good job.
Yeah.
And I assume that in the rest of the country it might not be as quick to happen, but it would be the same thing. Word of mouth, people referring you. That's huge. One of the biggest things that grew our company was Google. Google reviews.
Yeah.
People call me up and they're like, you have, 20 Google reviews.
Yeah.
And the other guy had 3.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Now that's going to get, that market's going to get tapped. Soon everybody's going to have 100 reviews.
Right.
Yeah.
Google reviews are pretty spooky.
What'd you say?
They can go bad quick or sideways if you get some
yeah.
bad ones, right?
Yeah, you don't want to get bad ones. That's why I never pushed it. All the Google reviews that I really ever got just kind of happened.
Yeah. You never asked for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know,
Did you ever do any marketing to push for accounts? They just came flowing.
Well, I tell you what. So I did this key move whenever I first started, and I went into the sales office of the new home communities, and I just introduced myself. I was scared to death whenever I went in my first one. I was in and out within 30 seconds. Hi, I'm Jordan. Bye. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But I went in and
not like you would handle it now.
yeah, right, exactly.
Sure.
But I went in and I gave him the cards and I introduced myself. And then kind of the next week, I think I bought him a pizza for lunch. And then I kept doing that, buying these $10 pizzas and giving them to these guys. Not every weekend, but once a month or whatever. And they just liked me and they just started referring me.
And people were asking them where to get their
Yes.
Dang, the
maintenance.
pizza game.
And
Yep.
they're like, well, I got this guy.
And then
You
my
bought me
relationship
pizza.
with them kind of grew. Again, I met somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My relationship with them kind of grew, and then they worked for a builder that had other sales offices. So they're telling this guy over here, hey, I got Jordan.
Yeah.
If you want to refer him.
Yeah.
So then literally in this company, this builder, they were referring me all over.
Yeah.
And then I started reaching out to other builders, setting up that same thing. So it was setting up the pipeline of these realtors referring sales agents in the sales office, referring us that built the business. And then I got into a relationship with one fertilization company, and that was a big one for me too. I had a long relationship with Heron.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And but then my guy at Heron left. He retired, and they got bought out by somebody.
Yeah.
So then,
And that relationship probably worked both ways too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I would refer them to every new client. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody called me up for a quote, I got this system. Like, I got this whole thing worked out to where it's like super fast. Like, so the way that basically works is somebody calls me up or sends me an email or fills out the website form or however they contact me.
Uh-huh.
And then I reply back and I say, thank you for contacting me. The fastest way that I can get you a quote is if you're able to send me a picture of the front and the back of the property along with the address. So that requires extensive knowledge of what you're looking at, right? Like,
Yeah.
if somebody can say I live on Shadow Moss Drive, and I'll be like, oh, I know you live in Westfield, like,
Yeah.
and that is like awesome. But you can't just know that. Like, you have to do that over years of learning everything.
Yeah, you probably know every neighborhood street name.
Right, that's what I was saying.
Area.
So, like what I'm trying to say is that like it's hard to do that any other way than just years of practice.
There's no
So anyways,
shortcut there.
yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So then they text me the picture of the property, and then I send them back a quote instantly with all the details: how to set up automatic payment, how to set up fertilization, with the other guy because we don't do fertilization. What the price will be. I break the math down. That was the biggest thing. That is like the key to my success, is that I break the math down on what we're charging them per service, how many times we're coming a year, and where their price of 120 or 140 or whatever it is a month comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And no one has ever negotiated whenever I broke the math down like that.
Wow.
If I'm like, oh, we can do it for $100 a month, they'll be like, you think you can do it for 90?
Right.
Yeah.
But whenever I say we're charging you, we're coming 42 times a year, we're charging you an average price per visit of $25. This is where the monthly price comes from. No one ever
Okay.
pushes back on that.
Wow, that's good. That's a good tip too.
That's a huge tip.
That's a huge tip.
If you listen to, you got to put that at the end of the show, because
Yeah.
if you listen to the whole show,
You'll get the mega tip.
That's the nugget.
That's milk.
Stay tuned to the end of the podcast for the mega hint on how to crush it in landscaping.
But then too, in the beginning, I had a relationship with like everybody that I did business with. Like, there was times that I would go to this one guy's house that moved here from New York, and I would hang out with him in his garage and have a soda every time that I did his yard.
Right,
yeah.
I'd hang out for like 10 minutes with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you get to be big and you're doing a lot, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that like along the way, like there's a whole process to the whole thing. Like in the beginning, like you need to have those relationships with those people, because then those people are referring you. So they're helping you set up your pipeline.
Yeah. Your influencers, right?
Right, exactly. Your
Spokespersons.
there's a book, the Raving Fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Book.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
Tipping
So,
point.
anyways, but then as I was getting bigger and preparing to sell it, I didn't want to have that close of relationships. So like there's a whole like evolution to the whole getting the business to a sellable point that
I
it
know
takes some
that feeling
steps.
too, because like I'm trying to remove myself from the showroom,
Right.
and there's so many people that like.
Oh, every time I call them, they're
I'm
like,
gonna buy it from Stu.
well, they're like, this is the case, and I'm like, let me talk to Stu.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And I'll come up here to sit and work on something, and I'll sit for like 30 seconds. And
That's true.
so I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I don't know that
So.
you might never get there. You have to get somebody pretty good to place you.
Well, we've done a good job.
Oh, the guys you've had over the years, they've all been.
Yeah.
I've had good friendships with all of them.
Yeah. You and Drew probably still close.
Drew,
right?
Terry, and
Terry, yeah.
I don't really have a relationship with most of the guys outside of work, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Jordan, Javier, Jose, they're all good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terry.
Yeah.
I even like that one guy, that older mechanic guy. I can't remember what his name was.
Gerald.
He gave me this nugget back in the day too, and he was like, "No, it was a good one." He was like, "I was thinking about buying something," and he was like, "If you buy that, you will make just enough money to stay broke." I was like, "Man, I appreciate that." That was a good.
Those are proverbs by Gerald. There's a lot of them out there. He's an ex-mechanic of ours who lives on in infamy.
Yes.
As a dirty old mechanic man who's pretty perverted and crazy. Gerald, if you're listening to this, hats off to you.
Got many fond memories of
Yeah.
our years together. Well,
So now we're also into trying to tap into the succulent market.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy right now.
It's like everybody loves succulents, but
Yeah.
nobody knows how to take care of them.
Right.
So we're trying to like set up a subscription succulent business or some type of recurring succulent business.
Like, will you mail them out?
Well, that's what we're working on. Like the whole shipping thing is a bit of an issue right now. So
Yeah.
I don't really know how it would work for. Like my idea initially was for a more local market.
Yeah.
But you know, if you want to have fun with it, and if you want to scale it, you got to be able to ship.
Yeah.
But
I love that idea. Houseplants, like in every HGTV, all
Yeah.
these Discovery Plus shows, like that's like the #1 decorator.
Yeah.
My wife is an artist and loves these house shows. And so you watch these, like, yeah, they have a pretty table, but they have just like 30 plants around the table. It makes the table look baller, right?
right.
That's kind of a big
Well,
part.
what we're kind of thinking is that you know nobody knows how to care for the succulents, so like let's just sell you an arrangement. And you can kill it in 3 months, and then we'll send you a new one.
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah, pretty much.
it's kind
Or
of
we'll pick it back up and revive
right,
it.
right.
Bring it back to you in
Right.
6 months.
So we've been going up to there's a cactus farm up the road there. Well, it's a succulent farm, but it's called Cactus.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we bought like close to $1,000 worth of succulents in the past 2 weeks, bringing them home like 200 at a time.
Yeah.
So we've done some cool stuff with that. So that's in the pipeline. We're working on that.
Cool.
I mean, at least farmer market, I think you could do like a lot of cool arrangements there.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you could probably kill it on the weekends. And
Yeah.
But
Me,
it's probably
me
more
and
than
Chip
that.
have a little mini nursery around the corner that we're thinking about planting into like popular house plants.
Really?
Yeah, like sea grapes and zippers and all the
Hey,
stuff that's kind of hip.
I've been holding out on that information. Like I haven't told anybody about selling the business. Like
yeah,
my guys know, a couple other people know.
you guys do know.
Well,
Well, they have to know.
Now they. I mean, I didn't tell them until Friday
Oh, wow.
because I just.
Did any of them see it coming? Were any of them like, yeah,
Oh
we figured.
yeah. Well, whenever I told them, they're like, "Oh, I knew you were gonna do that because of this or that."
USOB.
Now they were all good with it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they still have their job, right? I mean,
yeah,
that-
it was gonna be better.
they're super like important to this whole deal, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, if they were to walk, then basically I'd have to come step in. So
dang.
We have a customer, and we actually did a podcast with him whose his kind of goal is to grow infinitely. Like he's in the 400 range now, and he's been using all kinds of technology like service autopilot to like manage his routes, and he has 4 trucks that run and like a central hub, But he's had a lot of growing pains to take it to the next level. But now, like each crew runs itself. Their routes are optimized. Their driving patterns, just like a UPS truck.
who is this guy?
It's a Guardian.
Oh yeah, of course it would be him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish them best of luck.
The
I mean,
best, yeah.
Joe is fantastic.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
I will say, Jordan, you have brought a couple mowers to me
Oh
with no oil. I mean,
yeah.
kind of notorious.
You know, there was a failure in the maintenance program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw anybody on the bus or anything, but it just should have been watched better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the future,
Mm-hmm.
you could always just bring them to us.
Yeah. The maintenance program in the future for them, I definitely set them up for success on improving that.
Yeah.
Did you tell them to come to us? Or are they going to go to Kissimmee?
No, they're definitely coming here for sure.
Good. You better introduce us to these
Yeah.
guys.
Great guys, Mark, Ricardo. But I kind of met with him like a few weeks before the closing, and we had him put his card on file for the storage unit where the equipment is kept.
Uh-huh.
So then whenever you go to the storage unit and type in the code, his name comes up and it says "Welcome, Ricardo." So then whenever I told the guys about it, and I was like, Mark and Ricardo, they're like, "Oh, that's why the box has said Welcome, Ricardo for the past 2 weeks."
Yeah. About that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said.
Are you getting your general contractor's license?
No, I don't think that's where. No, I don't think that. I'm much better with breaking things down than putting things back up. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to let that stuff to the pros.
Yeah.
But so my focus now is just trying to build the network up, because that's what kind of getting off track here from mowing. But like that's what real estate is right now. It's 100% network.
Mm-hmm.
It's what deals are not listed
Mm-hmm.
on the MLS.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's which makes it even. I mean,
The Orlando real estate market's not going to go anywhere for a little while either, is it?
well, there's there's a key factor that affects the real estate market. Supply and demand, right? They're there.
Yeah.
But a key factor is the interest rate.
Yeah.
and like it's at like 0, close to it, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna. I don't think that they're gonna change that this year. Now the Biden administration has thrown some curveballs in there, so maybe they will.
Yeah.
But as long as interest rates stay low, I mean,
Yeah.
the real estate market is going to
Because
continue.
you can buy cheaper than renting.
Like at this point, like we're having to ask the builders if the appraisal doesn't come back at this ridiculous price that you're selling it at. What are we going to do about the difference? You know, because like if the builder sells the property for $300,000, but the appraisal only comes back at $280, that other $20,000 has
That's
to
some
come
more
from somewhere,
cash down.
right? Either we got to meet in the middle, or the buyer has to put up $20,000 in cash to cover the difference.
Wow.
Well, I want to stay on the Jordan train. How do we keep you in our showroom?
You know, one thing that me and Chip are trying to do is kind of grow with our landscapers that we've known a long time that are kind of moving on to the next level of like hardscape, install, big machines, you know. So we're trying to get some bigger machines in here.
Yeah, I mean,
And you might get into that too, like renting.
Right.
Big
Well, I tell you,
automation.
whenever I did do big landscaping, whenever I needed a bobcat, I had a subcontractor that I paid him like it was like a $300 minimum, and then like $200 an hour or something like that, and that worked out great for me because then like I didn't have to know how to operate the bobcat. I didn't have to like not hit the corner of the house and do $10,000 in structural damage, you know.
Pool deck and have to fix that or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
But the dingo, I mean, the dingo is the best thing I ever rented.
Yeah.
You already have that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dingoes are awesome.
Yeah.
I had so much fun using the dingo.
Yeah, they are cool.
It is kind of like the skid steer for amateurs, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
here you go. It's like a grandstand. Go for it.
Yep.
Can't do too much damage with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because literally, like, I've done and been through it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really are.
Like, in the past.
So, like, was there a time you tried to like flare up installs
Yeah, because
amongst your group?
So, installs.
Because we've seen people do that. Like, once you have this network of 400 customers, like, you want to get into pressure washing.
Right.
You got customers galore.
Right. Well, I wanted to start this like side company, side name, whatever you want to call it, called Landscape Flippers. They're like, everybody hated that name. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it
it's
was
okay, name. What do you do,
I
though?
thought it was like, well, I guess, like, we flip the landscape.
Right.
Yeah.
We make the
Oh,
landscape.
I get it, yeah.
I guess it kind of,
It would be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good name.
I guess kind of in flippers, like, it kind of means that you buy it and then you sell it higher.
Right.
Yes. But I meant to, like, we flip it into a different landscape.
Yeah, like rehab it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I went through that. They were like, why don't you call it Landscape Rehabbers?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then I think
that's
that,
lame.
I think at the end of that whole debate, we ended up with the name The Landscapers.
Oh, I remember that.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. And I was like, I like it. Simple. How does no one ever think of that? And you said
How
it
was
was
that available?
It was available, though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, we got it. It's a company that we had for a second.
The Landscapers. Who would have
Yeah.
guessed?
But with landscaping, in this area, like there's so many clients that say, I hate this, just fix it, right? There's that group. And then there's also the other group that take it a little bit further and they say, send me the bill. And like that is phenomenal. Like that, like
Yeah.
working for those type of clients is like the best.
Yeah.
A lot of people even like aren't, so that's a small percentage of the people. But a lot of people are like, just send me the quote, right? Everything I price is fair. Like you don't ever want to, like there's certain things in a quote that people can somewhat gauge, like how much mulch costs or how much effort it would take. Well, not really effort to tear it out, but there's things in the quotes that people can gauge. So you just need to be fair in your whole quote, but especially in those type of areas where people are able to
Right.
determine that. Whoa, wait a minute, why is he charging me
Right.
$15 for a $2 thing, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I always did my quotes fairly.
Yeah.
And I never got any bad feedback on like charging too much or anything like that. So, but a lot of times, like on the quotes, the price that we charge for a bush, and that's the other thing, is that I break the quotes down entirely. Like I say exactly what we're charging for every single bush on it. Because if you just say, oh, I can do this job for $2,500, and people are like, can you do it for $2,100? And then
Yeah.
you just lost $400. But if you send them an invoice with everything completely broken down, you're saying I'm using 16 bushes at $15 a piece. I'm using 8 bags of mulch, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
There's no debate.
it's like impossible to argue with that. Like, what do you do?
Right, you're like, okay, I guess I want less mulch. I don't know. Like,
Can we cut a few bushes out of there?
Yeah,
Make it
can
look
you not
shittier?
do the job? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
sure, we
but
can
but
take
the,
bushes
but the
out.
price that we were charging for bushes whenever we were doing landscaping, I mean, Lowe's charges like $3 less to buy the bush there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're installing the bush for $3 more than what Lowe's is charging you to buy and install the bush.
That's a good, but you weren't buying them at Lowe's prices.
Right,
You're
right.
buying them wholesale at,
Right.
yeah.
But the point is that if you want to do a landscape makeover and you're like, oh, I'm going to go to Lowe's and do this myself and save some money.
Yeah, they're going to price it and be like, shit.
I mean, you're going to save like $200 on a on an $800 job,
Right.
Like it was just
You might as well come home and just have it
be done professionally.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and this podcast is not for homeowners. This is for landscapers. This is advising landscapers. Like, that's good advice. That's beautiful advice.
Oh, yeah.
Compare it
I
to
didn't know
Lowe's, right?
Yeah,
Compared to Lowe's, yeah.
Because that's where they're going to go.
And like also, if you are just mowing grass and not doing landscaping, but you want to do landscaping, I mean, I went to Lowe's and I read the tags on the plants. Like that's how I got my base knowledge of landscape material, was just by walking through Lowe's and doing it over and over and over again. Take a picture if you can.
almost every plant that grows here was foreign to you.
Oh, I didn't know anything.
We're natives, and our dad owned a landscape nursery.
Yeah, I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to run an edger. Whenever I first got on that Gravely 34-inch mower, I took it out next to the pond, next to your McGuire building, and I almost sunk it in the lake. I hopped off right before the wheel went into the water. And I said, I'm good. Just get this loaded up on the trailer. I'll take it home and learn how to use it.
We loaded it on the trailer?
Somebody loaded it for me, yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I almost sunk it in the lake. I had literally no idea how to use that thing when I first got it.
You're like, I'll figure it out.
Yep. and I did. But the edger, the first time I used an edger and like the sparks were flying, I was like, what is this how I'm supposed to do this? But yeah, and then plants. I mean, I literally did not know a single plant here when I started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing.
But then whenever you pay attention, you realize that the same 20 plants are used everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you can just get those 20 plants down,
You're
So
pretty
now
much a
when you
genius.
ride around town, you notice
everything.
everything. I know.
And even the people that are with me,
I
like,
know
will start to do that too. They'll be like, "Oh, that's a Hawthorne. That's a viburnum."
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other day we were driving down the road, and she's like, "Oh, I see that backyard has magnolia trees and oak trees and a tibicina." I'm like, "That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool."
Or like they planted a tree there, it's going to be huge. They don't know that.
Yeah.
Why do they do that? They're going to be cutting that down in a year.
Not a good place for a ligustrum.
Oh yeah. That's way too shady for that plant. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's good advice. Compare your prices to Lowe's, because that's where they're going to be comparing your prices to.
And get a good partnership with a commercial nursery where you can buy good pricing.
And a good way to get a good relationship with a commercial nursery is to, well, not necessarily a commercial nursery, but a nursery that also sells to the public, is to ask them if they'll refer you, and then if they do refer you, like, treat that customer like gold, and then that pipeline will just open wide up. Because getting quality people, being able to refer quality people that will call you back, like when I first started, that was one of the main reasons why I was successful, is because I called people back. Like that's like a nugget right there. Like just call people back, answer your phone.
Right.
In this area, again, I don't know about the rest of the country, but in this area, if you just answer your phone alone, people will blow you up on reviews and love you.
Yeah.
Because like the other day I had to get this quote for a fence for somebody. I'm telling you, I called 12 contractors.
I know.
I got 2 to answer, and only 1 would give me a quote over the phone.
I know.
And yeah, I guess I have to go with this guy, right? This is my only option.
Exactly.
It was just so unbelievable. It was so frustrating.
I think it's something that Dave Ramsey says, and I don't know the exact quote, but it's like, show up on time, do what you say you're going to do, and you'll have no competition in your market.
It's so true.
That's how I tell my high school friends. I'm just like, guys, if you just turn in your homework, that's all you have to do. I promise you'll have at least B pluses, and you'll graduate high school. Turn your homework in. It's the only thing you got to do.
All right.
And it's not that huge of a hurdle. Just answer your phone or call them back.
Yeah.
And do what you said you're going to do. Like, that's like pretty basic human, but it's hard to do.
And that's why, like, I tried to make our quoting process so streamlined and easy with the picture and address message, because then, I mean, it's just so easy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to meet him at 6 and then he's late or, whatever. Like, there's nothing else to it. So, but again, that takes...
You would get answers quickly.
Instantly.
You could give them a price, and
instantly.
then they would say yes.
Whenever I moved to that method, I would say that my closing ratio was like way too high, like 90%. Like, yeah. And then after a while, I raised the prices and maybe changed it a little bit, but I was in complete control of that.
All right.
So, but again, the whole reason why that worked is because I broke the price down.
You know, I mean, this is a little bit behind the curtain for us. I tell my technicians the same thing. Like, if you just tell, the customer, I fixed it, $300, they're going to complain and fight that bill no matter what, right?
100%.
But if you say the bill's $900 and you break down, took off both heads, lapped your valves, readjusted, if you go through it all, what you actually did,
Right.
like, we're not lying to anybody, it's just you were lazy and didn't write enough detail in your description.
Right. Yeah.
Then they're gonna be happy to pay the $900. They're not even gonna blink at it.
Right.
But they'll fight you on $50 if you don't write any description.
That's exactly right.
Be like, $50 for what? A fuse? And be like, no, it wasn't a fuse. It took us a half hour. We found a wire grounded on your frame. But it is crazy what just a little bit of detail can do. It makes you look so professional. It makes people feel completely confident in what they're paying for. They're like, that's worth paying for. But if they don't know what they're paying for, they won't do it. They'll fight you.
Yep.
Jordan, thank you for coming and drinking with us and telling us your story and
Thanks for having me.
12 years of
It's been awesome.
friendship and partnership and everything's been great, man.
Yeah, it has been great.
Very
Thank
happy
guys.
for you.
Excited for what's next, and I don't think that we're not going to see each other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'll be back here for something.
Right. Absolutely.
yeah.
That's awesome.
You live around here.
Yeah.
You'll come hang with us.
For sure.
It's like you said, we've never hung out outside of outside of here.
Yeah,
What's funny is that we're still not outside of here, technically. We're not to burst the bubble, but we're still inside the building.
That's true.
But I would love to see you outside of here, Jordan.
Yeah.
You're a cool guy, and seriously, just appreciate you on all kinds of levels.
Awesome.
And just
Thank you guys.
seriously, inspiring for real.
Joe Rogan just says, all right, I think we're done here. Boom. Done.
Yeah. Well, I do think we're done here.
Yeah.
I think we heard it all.
What is this drink recipe?
You like it, huh?
Yeah.
It's worth noting.